And welcome back. We are here with our final lower bracket matchup for a chance at the semis. We have Inukshuq and Magus, who eliminated H-Slice and Crump in a 2-game sweep, versus Ari and Kid, who recently dropped from the upper bracket and lost a seemingly pretty fairly close epic matchup with Costanza and Freedom. Now these two teams are basically competing now for what is the final semifinal spot, and the semifinals will be played a little bit later today. But this is still a best of 3 matchup, and semifinals will be best of 5. But they will be playing on Lunar Colony 5, a new map that was recently introduced in Season 4. Not a lot of experience for everybody in playing this, but should be a very interesting matchup, as we see Ari and Kid in the southern position with Magus and Inukshuq in the north position. Now this is going to be interesting with 3 Zerg to see what happens here. Of course, Ari being the only Zerg on his team is very susceptible to a double 6-pool rush. That is considered cheese by most experts and scholars world round, but still very possible that it could happen. We have not seen Magus and Inukshuq do any kind of 6-pooling, so I don't think it will happen, but it is always a possibility. Now, the one benefit on this map being that it is a somewhat shared base. There are no true natural expansions, albeit maybe this one here, and the other natural is in a very horrible location with 2 entrances, even if one is blocked by rocks, but it's in a crater, so you have no line of sight above you, and they have all the line of sight to you. You know, any units above you can see below, but units below cannot see above, so it puts you at a very big disadvantage. So I will say that the side expansions are fairly decent, especially this one up here. Provide some really nice height advantage, but again, these are very difficult expansions to take and hold, considering how far away they are from your base. So I would say that there is an equal disadvantage on the Inukshuq Magus team, considering that they will be the ones trying to expand. And we see Inukshuq go ahead and throwing down a pool with a single gas mimic build over here on Magus. Now, assuming they're going to do the same build we've seen them do in the last 2 games, we'll probably see a Zergling and Roach matchup, and probably hitting very early on, maybe as soon as 5.5 to 6 minutes. And we are at the 3-minute mark now, and it looks like we're just seeing a Cybernetics core come up from Kid, and wow, no spawning pool yet from Ari at all. That could be a very big mistake here against double Zerg to wait that long to do a 16 pool is extremely dangerous. I realize that he is trying to macro up here and go for an expansion, but still very, very dangerous to go that late on the pool. We do see another pool going down from Magus. That may be his saving grace, considering that the macro does hinder their ability to rush a little bit. We do see 2 Zerglings out, most likely doing some scouting, trying to grab some kind of Zelnaga, or maybe even deny an early expansion. We also see a worker running around looking for things, trying to find out where they are. This being a new map, it looks almost as if they don't even know where they may have spawned. And that's very interesting. If Magus is truly new to this map, that could be a huge advantage for Ari and Kid if they had been practicing this. So we'll have to see what happens. But as it folds out right now, we've got couple of Zerglings trickling into the field here. We've got a nice little decent wall coming up here, but still a nice big enough gap for the Zerglings to run through. We don't see much else from Magus outside of a handful of Zerglings trickling in. We see a little bit of roaches from Inukshuq now. Now it looks like they really are using their build from the last 2 games. We do see the roach Zergling starting to trickle through. We see Zerglings finally hitting Ari's base here. He has not much to defend it. You see a Stalker and a Zealot rolling in, but this does not look good. This is a 5.5-minute rush, and they don't even know it. What looks like a handful of harassment is about to turn into an all-out rush, as we see these roaches starting to rally up here in the middle here, and they're just going for an extremely early attack. And this could turn into a very early problem for Ari and Kid, as now they realize, oh no, we've got lots of roaches rolling in here and not a lot to deal with it. Ari needs to move all these Zerglings. They need to rally in all the troops that they can. You see three Zerglings trickling in now to their bases. The Kid throwing down some pylons to get some desperately needed supply. There are no warp gates yet, and just like that, we see warp gates popping out. This is a big problem. He's got no answer for these roaches at all, and they are being completely attacked. This is turning into an all-out attack. You see the trickle just flowing in here. More roaches at the ready to trickle in, and this is not good. This is a very sub 7-minute attack, and I would say very well executed one at that. I mean, they really did not waste any time, did not waste really much of anything. I mean, Inukshuq had to give up an early expansion, but Magus didn't have to give up his early expansion at all, and he's still able to get enough Zerglings in here to complement these roaches. And the Rogue Zergling combo is working very well for them. And at 5.5 minutes, they have not found any team so far that has had a good answer for them since they've been in the lower bracket. You see Kid now evacuating the workers. This is just turning into a lot of problems. You see lots and lots of roaches rolling in here. You see Ari trying to get some roaches of his own, but it's just going to be way too late. That larva production's just not quick enough. You see finally some help coming in from Kid. Those warp gates coming up just in time as they're able to kind of pull back and try, but they really need to stop the bleeding here. You see Ari evacuating to his expansion, probably a good move, but finally you see the roach count building up, and they're just looks like they're just barely going to hold this attack off. And just steamrolling in here now, and now they finally have regained control of their base. There's plenty of roaches still rolling in. Will they try to keep the pressure up like they did with Crump and H-Slice, or will they back off and say, hey, you know what, these guys are giving us a little bit of a problem. Maybe we shouldn't try to rush in there so quickly. See some indecisiveness from Inuk. I think he wants to go for it, but he may be having a little bit of a conversation with Magus. And yes, they are going to go for it. It looks like they will march in here and try to use this to their advantage. Now they've gotten a nice little ball going here between Ari and Kid. I mean, they've got a nice little army rolled up here. They're at their ramp. The expansion, unfortunately, is probably going to go down, as Inukshuq is not going to go challenge for that. But at this rate, they may just want to focus on a nice solid counterattack. These Banelings, questionable decision, as there aren't really a lot of zealots for them to kill, and it's a total waste of resources to roll in to any other army. Oh, and he manages to pop a few of the Banelings. See some damaged units here, but a nice attack going in. You see a nice little surround happening here. And oh no, look at those broodlings coming from this building, helping out, taking out some of the Inukshuq's roaches here. This may be the edge that they needed. I mean, it looks like it will be a Pyrrhic victory, though, as Ari and Kid are going to lose most of their units. And they need to get a counterattack going here. The economies are fairly standard here, with only Ari being hurt. They need to find a way to get some kind of counterattack rolling here, and there we go. A nice mass of Magus's Zerglings just rolling in here. Very strong. You see a counterattack attempt. No, Zelnaga grab. Looks like partial counterattack attempt, but it will be ill-fated, unfortunately, as there are still way too many units here on this map with Magus as he's been able to expand. You definitely see the resource advantage as he's able to build a lot more units than Inukshuq, who has just started to expand over here in the canyon. And the Ari Kid base is fairly undefended. This attack, though, is going to successfully pull them back. They need to do some damage, but they need to try and take something out. They're going for these workers. They need to try and take out this hatchery, slow down Magus a little bit, as this Zergling count is just getting scary high. It is just way too dangerous. They need to find a way to try to slow this down. Inukshuq's roaches building up once again, and it is just not looking good at all. And here comes the counterattack, perfectly timed, very well executed, and they may get it this time, as there just does not seem to be enough units over at the Ari Kid base. They are running on one base each. They are now up against 4 bases as Inukshuq starts to saturate that expansion a little bit. And you see them rolling with these Zerglings. They'll try to keep them pinned on the wall, and they do a good job bouncing them back. These roaches will be a little harder to keep out, though. Still no speed upgrade, though, and that would really help, especially given the distance that they're having to travel to do these counterattacks. Would definitely help. And you see them rolling up. They're just going to try to hold the wall here. They're going to try to, oh, they're trying to bait those Zerglings down. They got the surround on the Zealots. That's going to definitely do some damage on their anti-Zergling capabilities. And see a little bit of a misfire there as they targeted their own buildings temporarily. You see them just, oh no, and Magus is wasting all these Zerglings. He's trying to brute force his way through. That is not a good idea at all. These roaches here are the only units left, and they're going to go down easily to this very big height advantage that you see from Ari and Kid fighting on the top of their own ramp. And you see them pushing in for a counter, but unfortunately, I just don't see how they're going to be able to outdo the production of a 4-base Magus and Inukshuq. They're chasing these roaches down. You can tell they so badly want some kind of counterattack, but they're just not able to pull it off. They're going to try to take out a few more units. Looks like they will get the rest of these roaches cleaned up, and they're going to try to roll in with some kind of counterattack, but just not a good idea. Better for them to pull back, and this is starting to look very bad for them. They have not been able to expand at all. We have way too many units on the Inukshuq Magus side, and they are just right now really rolling this double Zerg macro build. I'm sorry, not macro, but massing build, and it's turning into a macro build now. As you see, lots and lots of bases going down. Now with 4 bases here, see Magus now going for infestors. Inukshuq looks like he's going for some an evolution, 2 evolution chambers, going to do some quick upgrades. See more roaming Zerglings, preventing any kind of expansion. They're basically playing a resource harassment game, trying very desperately to bust through on this main base, and it's just not looking good. This is the kind of battle, though, where one well-placed Colossi could make a huge difference. But it doesn't look like the tech is going that way at all for Kid, as he is just trying to desperately just match unit counts to prevent a complete overrun on this base. The only advantage they really have is the fact that Inukshuq and Magus's units are separate right now, so they may be able to try and attack them separately, try to pick them off one at a time, especially these Zerglings, which are so problematic with the speed upgrade. We'll have to see what happens there. We see a 3rd base going down for Magus up here in the north. That will seal the deal, in my opinion. If they cannot stop this macro, it will be extremely difficult to counter anything, as they will just be able to just outbuild them and resurrect instant armies every single time. Still no speed upgrade on the roaches for Inukshuq. Looks like he just doesn't believe in it. We see upgrades going down for armor and melee, as we see Magus pretty much dedicating himself to the ground attack. No spires on any side, so it doesn't look like we'll see any air units. And wow, look at Magus just going for those extra bases now. Just unbelievable, going for 2 extra bases now. Just incredible. And we see Kid with some Dark Templars. That may sway the battle here, as we do see 2 Overseers coming up. And oh no, the fungal growths from the hidden infestors laying down some massive damage on these units, holding those zealots in place. You see the roaches just barreling in, and this is not going to be good at all. Another fungal goes down. These roaches just brute forcing past all these stalkers and roaches. Does not look good. Infestitarians coming in to do a little bit extra damage. Won't even be needed. By the time they pop up, this is already over, as this is completely done. And you have to wonder now, will they try to counterattack? A DT doing a little bit of damage here in this mineral line, but an observer coming in to finish him off, and it will not do enough damage. And that attack, unfortunately, was just not enough. And we finally see an expansion going down here for Kid, but a little late, as we now have 4 bases up and running with saturation. A 5th and 6th base coming up, and Inukshuq, oddly enough, building a gas here on Magus's base. I don't see how that's friendly, considering that Inukshuq won't be able to mine for Magus. But you know, I don't know, maybe that's just how they roll. Maybe it's something they do for good luck. We see some roaches roaming around outside the base here. A nice little army building up here. They might be able to take out these roaches, but these infestors, oh no, and the Zerglings coming in from the side. This is going to turn into a Protoss sandwich, and it is not the good kind. See all these stalkers going down, and that pretty much, and 2 Hydralisks just to boot. And you see just nothing but probes now, trying to get to an expansion that they'll never make it to. And they finally have gotten what they've wanted. They've entered the base. Kid giving the GG as they go down. First game going in favor of Magus and Inukshuq. Kid and Ari will have to rally from this, as this was a very hard loss on a very large map. We'll have to see how they bounce back. Stay tuned as we go to game 2 of this best of 3 series.